on, guys? Alex Taylor here, Legacy Squad podcast coming at you. This is an unplanned podcast. Actually have Laquan Butler. He is on his way to the office, but I wanted to hop on here real quick with you guys and let you know what's going on right now. Is today's date. So this came out on the 15th of August. Actually, this was yesterday. So yesterday, PBD, Patrick Bet-David, for those of you who do not follow the PBD podcast or Valuetainment, hop over there, like, subscribe. But this is one of highly influencing people of our generation. He's a visionary. Highly encourage you guys to follow him along with ourselves. But I wanted to jump on here, go over a little bit about what he's talking about, because let me grab my tablet real quick. Wall Street Journal, was it Wall Street Journal or was it Barron's? Might have been Barron's. Let's get it pulled up here real quick. It was Barron's. So Barron's came out today talking a little bit about this. So I want you guys to hear exactly what they said on PBD podcast.
Then Anheuser-Busch, we actually had a chance to meet the CEO of Anheuser-Busch last week with Dana White at the UFC Super Slap event that we went to, which was something else. Okay, so let's go into Michael Burry. Tom, Michael Burry makes a $1.6 billion bet against the stock market, which has got a lot of people talking. So Michael Burry, famed for predicting the 2008 financial crisis and The Big Short, has positioned bearish bets against the U.S. stock market. He purchased put options against $739 million in Invesco QQQ Trust ETF shares and $886 million in SPDR S&P ETF shares, signaling a possible market downturn. Burry bets indicate a defensive stance as put options increase in value with declining stock prices, while exact amount risks aren't disclosed due to filing limitations. Burry previous high profile predictions lend attention to his market actions despite a history of accurate predictions, such as shorting tech stocks during the dot-com bubble. Some bets, like his short position on Tesla in 2020, have misfired. Burry's recent options moves against the market could be part of a broader strategy that isn't fully evident from the filings. Tom.
Well, Michael Burry, interesting guy, a lot of credibility, subject to The Big Short. He was in there, prominent figure. And he's known as a contrarian, and a contrarian looks for markets that are out of sequence or that are overcooked, and they play against them, just like you might call him a bear. And so he has a history of this, looking for overcooked things. So it's not really a headline that he's a contrarian, and this is a defensive move. So he might have $3, $4, $5 billion of total investment. He's putting 1.6 against the market. And what's interesting to see, he's putting it the S&P 500, and there's a lot of people, including me, that think that's a little overcooked because 92 of those stocks are kind of stuck, but 7 of them, remember they were calling them the Magnificent Seven,
What's
Tesla?
keeping the market going?
Yep. Is it that the only thing that's been in the S&P 500 was the Tesla bounce up? It was number one because it went from like 110 to 220, where it is now is 265 a week ago. And that Magnificent Seven carried it. So he's saying, I don't think the Magnificent Seven can keep doing this quite so long, and so I'm going to bet against it. So when he bets against it, he thinks it's going to air out. But he's had a history of defensive postures, and he's been right more than he's wrong, although he did trip on Tesla in 2020, but he didn't lose a huge ton, but he had to back out of that position. So, but when Michael Burry says, hey, I'm thinking it might rain tomorrow, it's never a bad idea to buy an umbrella.
Let's take a look at what happened to you.
So what do you guys think? I'm curious as to what you guys think in the comment section with what Michael Burry just did. Also, this is what came out today with Barron's, because I was looking at a couple of things that just got into the office. I've been out of town for a few days. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are having their worst August in years. So they're trying to point it as a bright side, where it says the indexes were having a good year, double-digit gains until this late summer slump. Well, what do you guys think is going to happen later on here in the year when we get closer to Black Friday, you get closer to things like layoffs happening, or if you go into another website called the Warn Notice, you can do this in your home state. I just did it in Texas. And when you go into, let me get this pulled up here, Texas Warn Notice. Like I say, you can do this in your home state as well. You can pull up a PDF of companies that are tracking layoffs. So, for instance, here in Texas, there's been 2.4 million employees laid off from 11,823 companies from 2020 to 2023. That's kind of scary. So that means there's a lot of people out there looking for work, but yet there's not a lot of people out there looking for work because you have the government subsidies paying them more to stay at home than what they were making at their jobs. So let me know your guys' opinion on that as well. That's something that the latest front runner here in the Republican Party has kind of talked about a little bit on his campaign trail. Vivek Ramaswamy. If you haven't heard that name before, Google him. Look up some YouTube videos. He was on The Breakfast Club. He's been on Patrick Bet-David. He has interviewed him. There's been a couple of others. I believe it was Grant Cardone had an interview with him. But he's very good at the way he articulates his words and how he talks. But he talks a little bit about this on how these government subsidies are paying people to stay at home more than they were to go get a job. But when we look at the Texas Warn Notice, I mean, it looks like David's Bridals, that's just one of them. They're going damn near out of business, it seems, in a lot of markets here in the Texas state. Halliburton is another one. Looks like in Houston, they're going to have 3,500 layoffs. And that's going to be, does this give this a month or no? That's already happened. So that was 3/18 of 2020. Let's look at some more recent stuff here, because they'll actually give you what's about to happen. And if you're curious as to if your company is safe or not, you can actually look at this as well on warntracker.com and see if your company is listed and how many layoffs they plan on doing. Anyway, while that's pulling up, what are some of your guys' plans in case you were to happen to be one of the ones to get laid off? That's something that you need to have in your back pocket. Do you have anything on the side or that you're doing on a side hustle, business-wise, whether it's like selling T-shirts out of the trunk of your car? Have you become a 1099 business owner or set up an LLC or an S-Corp to capitalize on the tax breaks that business owners get to take? Another thing that PBD is going to talk about here in a moment, and I want to talk with you guys about, is not only that this stuff is going on with the layoffs, with the possible market crash looming, with what Michael Burry is doing. We're going to talk a little bit about insurance, of course, as well, because after all, that's what Laquan and myself are in. We are in the insurance world, and we want you guys to be in the know of what's going on and what's happening as well. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit through this podcast here. We're going to discuss a little bit on the facts of what PBD talks about with insurance. So we'll be back in a moment. Okay, this is the part, guys, where I was talking about where PBD goes into the insurance side of things. He starts off by talking about heart attacks. Take a listen.
Record levels after pandemic. This is the Telegraph story, page 15. What do you mean heart attacks at record level after the pandemic? So, what page is that on, Rob?
6.
Page 6? Okay. Heart attacks at record level after the pandemic.
Top of 6.
There you go. Okay, thank you. Got
there
it.
You go.
So here we go. Record numbers of post-pandemic heart attacks, hospitalizations exceeded 84,000 cases in England for 2021-2022, making a 7,000 case increase. Underlying delayed detection concerns, says official data. A new NHS campaign pushes early action, urging individuals to dial 999 when encountering heart attack symptoms like chest tightness and sweating, aiming for better survival odds, emphasizing Professor Nick Linker, NHS National Clinical Director for Heart Disease. Every moment that passes during a heart attack increases heart muscle damage. Please call 999 so you have the best chance to full recovery. A 250 million pound NHS funding boost for winter with plans for 900 extra beds seeks to address pandemic, including service disruptions and higher heart-related deaths, while heart charities emphasize the urgency of timely care. Okay, this is just in UK.
Well, it's not just in the UK, it's also in the United States as well. By the way, we got Laquan Butler back in the house. He's over here doing some computer stuff right now, but he'll be on the screen momentarily. I wanted to get you guys to hear this stuff as well. He'll be able to chime in a little bit as well. Laquan, what do you think the day of the week is most heart attacks happen? Monday. Let's see. We'll go to the old Google. That way you guys, because you guys trust Google more than you do us, right? We're just some guys on a podcast. What do you know? Let's go back here. What day of the week do most heart attacks occur? And of course, Google didn't understand me. What day of the week do most heart attacks occur?
According to British Heart Foundation, according to new research presented at the British Cardiovascular Society, BCS, conference in Manchester, serious heart attacks are more likely to occur on a Monday compared to other days of the week.
Monday, strange. So you're right, Laquan. I wonder why most heart attacks occur on a Monday. What time of day do you think these heart attacks occur?
In the morning.
What time of day do most heart attacks occur?
According to Grand Strand Medical Center, most heart attacks hit during the early morning hours from 4 to 10 a.m. when blood platelets are stickier, and there is increased adrenaline.
Gee, 4 to 10 a.m. on a Monday.
Trigger rupture of
What are most people doing on a 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. on a Monday? Getting ready for work. So people's jobs are literally killing them because they're going to a job they don't want to make some income for a lifestyle that they're not enjoying. And it's a sad reality of the American dream. But let's take a look. And this is where he starts getting into insurance.
These reports are coming out here. You saw the story of Caleb White, another 17-year-old kid, number 3 high school basketball player in Alabama, dies after collapsing on court. We just had LeBron's son went through that, Bronny. We were all looking forward to the day for him to play with his son.
Damar Hamlin. And the World Cup female soccer player from, I don't know, Colombia or something, collapsed twice.
How many people on the news? They're doing the news and the lady drops, comedians dropping, politically. So now, we don't know.
By the way, that is crazy. Have you seen some of these videos where you just have a newscaster just talking, all of a sudden they just fall out of the frame and fall over?
I haven't.
Like they're popping up all over the place. It's because they're saying of all the vaccines, the what do they call them, the boosters, all the boosters, and all of a sudden they start having problems with their blood clotting and the things going in their arteries and growing in their heart, and it's causing them to have heart attacks. But they don't know about it because they never had any underlying health condition before, so they just go on as life is normal, and then all of a sudden something happens to clog an artery or a passageway or something, and they just fall out. It's happened to the athletes, newscasters. I mean, they're catching it on camera. It is crazy. Don't worry, guys. I am unvaccinated, so you don't have to worry about that happening to me.
What it is. We want to know what it is. But what we do know, what's happened the last 3 years, people trust Big Pharma less. People trust the governments, governments plural, worldwide.
Everywhere.
Governments less. People trust World Health Organization less. People trust NIH less. CDC less. All of these guys.
Notice these are all like 3-letter organizations: FBI, CIA, the Health Administration. I mean, what's some of your guys' opinions? Who do you trust less nowadays than you did before? I know the government's been kind of iffy all along as far as millennials and Gen X's go anyway, but now that all this stuff is starting to be unearthed and the bodies are starting to come out of the ground and skeletons falling out of the closet, Let me know in the comment section, guys. What three-letter agency would you like to see go away? And that president I was talking about earlier that is up for is in the running for being a candidate for the Republican nominee. He goes on to talk about a lot of that stuff. On a lot of these three-letter organizations are going to be nixed if he gets in the White House. So definitely give him a follow on some of the social media channels. Vivek Ramaswamy. Let's go ahead and continue.
Less. And all people are saying is, listen, I'm sick and tired of just being seen as the sicker I am, the more money you make off of me. The more hospital beds are filled, the more money you make off of me.
Yeah.
Empty beds don't make hospitals money. We need hospitals to be full to make the hospital money. When you start looking at it from this angle, rather than the incentive being healthier you are, the better you do. A couple years ago, an insurance company came up to us that
It's like hotels. Hospitals are the new hotels for the sick. If the hospital bed's empty, they don't make any money. It's crazy to think about it that way, and it's sad to think about it as that way, but that's the truth. And right now, the truth isn't looking too pretty.
program called Vitality. Okay, I don't know if you remember this, Tom, or not. Vitality.
It was Hancock. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Hancock is who was a good memory. So Hancock, you know what their memory, but their product was?
Yeah, I remember that.
We'll sell you an insurance policy, and if you wear this Fitbit year-round, and a Fitbit reports back to our insurance company that you're moving your body and exercising, your cost of insurance is going to decline every quarter.
That is a hell of an idea. Would you do that? Wear a Fitbit on your wrist if the cost of insurance goes down on you every year, and you're an active person?
Yeah.
I'd take that deal. Damn good deal. Let me know in the comments section. Would you wear a Fitbit for an insurance company if you knew the cost of insurance would go down every year because you're an active person?
Or so. What a product. You're incentivizing people to not need their life insurance policy. Let me say that again. You're incentivizing. The insurance company is flat out telling you, listen, man, I want you to live longer. Okay? Please exercise so you can live longer so I don't have to pay you the death benefit in case you die. And if you keep exercising and moving your body, I will charge you less for the insurance policy. That's what you call compassionate capitalism, where you're using
awesome.
it in a way to say, listen, let's keep hospitals emptier. I'm going to give, a certain incentive for keeping people healthier. You don't hear governors or presidents talking about, guys, start reading some business books, start exercising, stop eating at some of these places that's fast food. You don't hear those conversations. If I told you right now a president that talks about the border, you would say Trump. If I told you a president that talks about the number one world crisis in the world is white supremacy, you would say Biden. If I told you the biggest crisis in the world is climate change, you would think about AOC, Greta, or some of these guys. But if I told you, name me one political leader that talks about go read some damn books, go exercise, take care of your health, stop eating shitty food, you can't think about a candidate.
Nope.
You can't.
Nope. Well,
this is the incentive program. So going back to the enemy is real, but I think the other side, skeptical people are like, listen, man, it's about time to go address these guys.
Well, I'll just say one thing. I can think of a candidate, and that would be RFK. It was so fascinating to watch the debate, or whatever the potential debate that he had with the guy Dr. Peter Hotez.
Have you been following RFK any at all? So there's a video that was started going viral of him on, I think it was like Daytona, or no, where's Muscle Beach at? That's California, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was on Muscle Beach, like shirt off, pumping iron, or like looking like a little slightly younger Arnold Schwarzenegger. And when he was talking about running for president, it's like, dang, it's a buff president,
You got RFK,
possible president.
who actually admitted to taking the vaccine, but it says it's okay to question the vaccine, especially the Operation Warp Speed and rush down the pipe and what's happening with that. But here you got this dude, how old is he, 70, 65? Just Jack Diesel, working out. Then you've got Dr. Peter Hotez, vaccine advocate. I'm telling you, under that white coat, it ain't looking good. It ain't looking pretty.
Fast food addict.
Exactly. So, ultimately, what does it come down to? Are you going to be proactive about your health, or are you going to be reactive? Hospitals, what did we call it yesterday? A hotel for sick people. Unless those beds are not filled, basically the vacancy, they're not making any freaking money. Exactly. So, what did we learn during COVID? Just take the jab, take the vaccine, don't ask any questions. Nobody was saying, bro,
Get the fuck outside, work out, get some sun, eat healthy, stay active, sweat.
'Cause it wouldn't
But
make them
that's
any
the-
money.
But there's no money in that.
There you go.
Who makes money? The gyms. Okay? Fitness instructors, that's awesome. But that ain't big pharma. That's not their business model. That's how they make their money.
You know,
with sick people.
You know, you're not in the insurance business, and Tom, you're an insurance executive. I mean, we can call you an insurance executive. Have you been a president and a CSO of an insurance company?
I was adopted by the industry.
So when questions
I'm an
asked,
executive, too.
when the questions ask about life insurance, how to get even with the life insurance company, you know my statement always: don't cancel your policy.
Boom, there it is.
Don't die.
Don't cancel your policy. That's what I wanted you guys to hear. If you think life insurance is a scam, get a policy. Don't cancel it. Because what happens if you cancel a policy? All the money that you've been paying in premiums, they're going to keep, and then you don't have any coverage. But if you don't cancel that policy, even if it's a 20 or 30-year term policy, if something did happen to you, guess what? They've got to pay out. They have to. But you want to make sure you have the right carrier as well. There's carriers out there, these little mom and pop carriers, obviously they have a lot of loopholes. The big billion-dollar carriers, they want to pay out. They have the money. So if you're wanting to make sure that your family is protected should anything happen to you, get a life insurance policy, but better yet, get one that has living benefits. If it's an old policy like you got back in the 80s or 90s, review that policy with one of your trusted insurance agents and see if that policy has living benefits. More than likely, if it's an old policy like that, it does not. Because living benefits is relatively new, mid-late 90s. But if you have living benefits, if you get like stroke, heart attack, cancer, Alzheimer's even, you have access to that death benefit to use while you're alive. You don't have to pass away. There's other policies out there that are even more beneficial because you can save for a tax-free retirement through a life insurance policy. It's what the senators and congressmen and the governors, and that's what they're all doing. The big wigs on Wall Street, it's what they're doing. They're not investing everything they have, their life savings, into stocks and stuff. No. They only play with the money they're willing to lose in those type of scenarios. The money they want to preserve and protect first and foremost, they put in something called a LIRP, a life insurance retirement plan. But let's go back to this and listen to more about what PBD says about life insurance companies.
No. Don't cancel your policy. What does that mean? Don't cancel your policy because the insurance company banks on eventually you canceling your policy.
Yeah.
And when you do, that premium goes to who? The insurance company.
Gets it.
Okay? So, but if you keep your policy and you eventually die, they have to pay out.
Gosh.
And this is what happened with COVID. When COVID happened and a lot of these employees started letting people go, or you started getting layoffs or losing their jobs or working from home and no longer needing you or being called non-essential, what was one of the first things they did? Well, they wouldn't cancel their cable. They wouldn't downgrade that because they wanted to watch Netflix all day. What did they do? They canceled their life insurance policies. Why would you do that? Let's go back to listen to more.
If you want to get even with the insurance company, buy your policy, never cancel. That is the wisest thing you can do. Because what happens with insurance companies is you buy an insurance policy, a 2008 crisis happens, a COVID happens. What's the first thing people cancel? Insurance policy.
Right there.
What they don't realize, the insurance policy you got it when you were 33 years old, healthy, and it was good. You got approved. So you prefer to leave. Your paying cost of insurance is nothing. But a crisis happened, and now you canceled it. Say you were paying $100 a month. I'm just using basic math. Now you're 43 years old. Okay, you got a wife and 3 kids, and you're like, I got to go out there and get an insurance policy. Well, now you're older, you're sicker, you're not healthier. Now your insurance policy is no longer $100 a month. Now you got to pay $200, $300, $400, whatever the number is going to be, depending on based on your health. So, but people cancel it. If you keep it, you're going to be healthy. We need more policies that say, look, let's incentivize people that don't use health insurance. Let's give credit to people that take care of their health. Give them a tax incentive every year where you're not going to the doctor all the time, where you are keeping a certain weight on your body and all this stuff. Let's give incentives for staying healthy. If we could do that, we have a better society. We can easily increase our life expectancy. We can easily increase our lifestyle. We can do those types of things.
even with life insurance. So going back to making better people, I truly believe, guys, that if everyone was knowledgeable, was more financial aware of the capabilities of a life insurance policy could do, it's not meant for death. Okay? Term insurance, insurance that you have through your work, that's death insurance. That's basically all it is. I was sitting with a client earlier this week. She was saying, I don't need any life insurance. I'm good. I got $500,000 through my work. I said, man, where do you work? So after reviewing the policy with her, she was a little bit mistaken. She only had $50,000 in coverage, not $500,000. So you really need to pay attention to what your employee is really offering you when it comes to these type of benefits, as they call it. $50,000 is okay. It's at least to put you in the ground, have a decent burial, but other than that, it doesn't do anything for you. If you have your own policy, for instance, a term policy, maybe 20, 30-year term, with living benefits, well, now you have access to that death benefit for while you're alive, should life throw you guys a curveball in your family. Now, there is, like I said before, a life insurance retirement plan where you can save for a tax-free retirement. You can build your wealth at the same time, having your money linked to an indices of the market without actually being directly in the market. So you get the upside growth potential without any of the loss potential. How many of you guys would be looking for a product like that? There is such a product. It's called a life insurance retirement plan. If you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, click the link in the comments or in the bio of this page, because there's links to be a guest on our podcast, to come on and debate or talk about things. There's links to Laquan. There's links to myself where you can contact us directly, ask some questions. You can ask questions in the comments below, and we will respond. We read these guys. We love you guys. We want to make sure that you guys are taken care of, and we are licensed professionals. So this is why this stuff means a great deal to us, is because if we're able to take that financial burden, that financial pressure off your guys' shoulders and help you be more versed in this type of stuff, well, that's going to mean that you're going to have less financial stress on your shoulders, and you're going to be able to be a better father, a better mother, a better son, a better daughter, a better person in society. I truly believe that, guys. But that's going to end our emergency podcast for today. Thanks for being able to hop on, tune in, and interact with us. Appreciate you guys dropping in the comments section below, and we'll see you next time. Probably next week. I would say Wednesday or Thursday next week. Laquan and I will be back in the studio. Everything will be nice and set up again for us. But appreciate you guys, and God bless. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.